And I don't know if you've ever heard of the word ultracrepidarian.
No.
It's somebody who insists on weighing in on something they know nothing about.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we're seeing an awful lot of that online these days. Some of the criticisms that have been leveled against me, which I actually must admit I get more entertainment value out of my detractors than I actually do anything else. And sometimes it actually is good because then it helps me say, I need to clarify this a little bit here and there. And this is part of the problem of modernism ultimately, and the Protestant Revolution, but modernism. The objective for truth is transposed from objective reality to the interior. So people feel certain, they feel certain things, and so as a result of that, they become an expert on them, and they can think they can wax poetically about it, so to speak, or wax eloquently. But in the end, it lacks any kind of theological precision.
Well, and that is modernism, that the feelings, the emotion, the reception of a person is what defines liturgy and dogma. And
That's
that's,
right.
if you
Exactly.
accept that premise, that means that liturgy and dogma must be revised every 5 to 10 to 15 years to
10 years. That's right.
correspond to the experience of the recipients.
That very idea, which is in the church today, is highly ironic because we're living in a church now where the liturgy is from the 60s. The mass is from the 60s. The vestments are from the 60s. The music is from the 60s. These old duffers that are still saying the old mass still have a 60s mentality and still preach like they're in the 60s. The churches look like they're from the 60s. If that principle was actually true, the church would ultimately be remaking itself every so many years, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is these guys got stuck at a specific time in their life, emotionally and psychologically and developed, and they haven't gotten beyond it. That in point in fact, at a certain point, I mean, everybody kind of goes through a stage, especially when they get into young adulthood, where they have to make a certain set of decisions and to continue growing emotionally, et cetera, and psychologically in virtue. And that requires suffering, but that generation didn't do that, and they got stagnated in the 60s. And so even their liturgy, you kind of see that even in relationship to some of the stuff coming out of the magisterium, even the forms of expression are still from the 60s. And you're just like, can we get beyond this?